Hi guys, it's Rick Shields down here at Quest Golf Studio here in Lytham, and it's review time for these, the new Ben Hogan PTX irons. Brand new irons from Ben Hogan, and you may be aware I've been using Ben Hogan irons for about 10 months now. I've been using the Fort Worth 15, and there are two new clubs that have come out really. There is this one, the new PTX, and then there is also the Fort Worth 15 High, which I'll do in a different review. It's mainly just for the long irons, kind of a more forgiving iron. This is a cavity iron, the new Ben Hogan PTX. It's a cavity iron, which looks very different in design to the Fort Worth, which I've been using, in the way that the back of the club is now kind of a little bit jazzier. There's more padding, there's more weighting around the perimeter. It's got the little logo, Ben Hogan logo in the cavity, and also the little emblem there as well. They've stayed true to their roots though. They've still named everything in lofts. So every golf club is still in loft. I think you can get them from 18 degree all the way to 62 degree going into the wedges. I've got these irons from 22 degrees, which I class as my 4-iron, down to 46 degrees, which I class as my pitching wedge. And this one that I'm going to hit first is the 34 degree, which I've now become accustomed to be my 7-iron. I'm interested to see how these perform as well, whether this might be a change of clubs for me, whether I move into a club that's a little bit more cavity and a little bit easier to hit. They certainly feel like I might be moving into this, because in the hosel they've actually engraved #Quest for the Open. Very sly there, Ben Hogan. There's no guarantees that I will be using these golf clubs at all. If they don't perform better, I will not use them. If I don't feel like they're more forgiving, I won't be using them. But I'm going to hit today on the new software, 7-iron, pitching wedge 4-iron. Let's see how it performs. Then I'll hit the Fort Worth 15 High irons, the big forgiving ones. And then later down the line, once I know the results and numbers, I'll do some more head-to-head testing to see actually which clubs are going to are they going to replace these? If they feel the same and perform more forgiving, I think it's a no-brainer. So, my instant feel when I put this club behind the ball is it has the same look and characteristics of the Fort Worth 15 irons, but just bigger. It's got a thicker top line, it's got slightly more offset, it's the same neck design, it's the same hosel design with the 2 red bands. It looks the same head length, blade, but it's just thicker. It's just a thicker top line. Let's give this a hit. I've got it in the same spec as mine, X100, standard length, standard lie. I've pulled the flag out to 175 away, because I normally hit my 7 about 170 carry. Let's give this a hit. And it's a forged head. Right guys, so thanks for watching. Just felt great. It did feel good. It's a forged head, so hopefully should feel very soft like that one did. That carried at 168, which is exactly what I'd want this golf club to carry at. Exactly. I do not want it to go long. 34 degrees of loft is no longer a 7-iron loft in theory. Most 8-irons in modern sets is 34 degree. In my head, I still use this as my 7-iron, my 34 degree, or the 34 degree, should I say. Let's give that another hit. It's a little bit more left that time. That was more from the toe of the club. But felt okay still. It's a shame I've missed the green, but it still felt okay. But it was toe side of centre. Hard to say if it's more forgiving yet than my normal one. That's probably when I get to do the proper head-to-heads, when I really realise that and get some strike locations, etc. This is just a general review of these irons. That's a nice shot. That's a nice golf shot. That felt lovely. Yeah, you know what I quite like? Get in, get in, get in! Oh! Can't write it, can you? They're spinning on average at 7,000, the 7-iron there, which is absolutely bob on to what I want it to be. Personally, I don't like the graphics behind the head as much as I like the look of mine, but that's just looks. But I think performance, if it does things like that, I cannot grumble really. 7 iron, very, very good. I have got the full set here, but I'm just going to jump through a few different irons. I'm going to move back to now the 22 degree, which I see as being my, let me just pull this back to the right distance, probably 230. I see as my 4 iron, 22 degrees. Now, a couple of things that I've noticed with the 4 iron of my Fort Worth anyway, is it seems to be a powerful hitting, even though it's a very small blade. This instantly, as I put it down next to the ball, offers me a little bit more protection. It's a thick top line, but it does look the same blade length. It doesn't look any longer. I don't know if it is, but it doesn't look any longer. Oddly, in the 4 iron and the 5, you lose a little bit of the, I don't know what you'd call it. Almost the swirly lines around the Ben Hogan symbol. No idea why. So from 6 iron down to pitching wedge, where the Ben Hogan logo is, there's loads of little swirly lines, but 4 iron and 5 iron don't seem to have those. There's a little bit of weight in the toe, a little bit of, I'm not sure, I don't want to say tungsten because I don't think it is, but there is a visible weight there in the toe, which hopefully should stop the ball turning too far left for a long iron, I would imagine. Yeah, that looks better. So I think carry for me for this would be about 220, typically. Good, yeah. Very nice. Yeah, just under that 220 mark. Very nice. I've actually just not quite lined that up straight there, but that felt perfect. 216 carry on the nose. Not really too bothered about the spin rate of a 4 iron, but it did spin at 4,000. I typically like to see the spin rate to be thousands of the iron, if that makes sense. So I like to see, if it's a 4 iron, that it spins at 4,000. If it's a 6 iron, it spins at 6,000. 9 iron spins at 9,000 as a rule. So 4,000 spin for that felt good. Love the hit again, felt really good. Like I said, I think this, as an extra bit of padding and being familiar with the golf club, really helps. Tiny bit left. That's a disappointing golf shot. That's a long way left. That's not a tiny bit left. That's a long way left. Felt good though off the face. Well, obviously, pilot error is still responsible for a lot of misdirections, but it still felt okay. It didn't actually feel like that bad a hit. It didn't feel like a miss hit, let's say. That might be now where the Fort Worth 15 high iron may come in, which I'll review separately, coming next. Let's hit a few more of these 4s. That's nice. That is nice. Yeah, I like these. You know, in my initial thought, I had a very, very short stint of hitting these in Orlando when I was there. But honestly, for minutes, 5 minutes tops. So I've not really had the grasp of getting these hit. What I'm happy with so far is they're not going longer than my current set. They're very true to their distances, which I found not to be ridiculously long, but considering the lofts, not to actually be that short. I thought with the lofts of these irons compared to now modern irons, they were going to be a lot shorter. That's going with the Fort Worth and now the new PTX. I always feel like they should go shorter than some of the modern irons. For example, Pete, who I do a lot of videos with, I'll hit my 7 iron past him, yet even though my lofts are weaker. Now I hit the ball slightly different off with my iron, but I seem to hit them longer even with weaker lofts, and that's been the case for a while now. So I never think they lose distance, but they are nowhere near the longest on the market, which I don't think you need. I don't personally like a super long iron, really, because I find you lose kind of that accuracy. Let's go one more with the 4. Yeah, a little bit more turny that time, to the right this time, but felt okay still. I don't mind that. You know, that's a 230-yard golf shot, and I'm just off the green, probably putting. So far, so good. I can't see what's going to change here with the wedge, but so far, so good. Let's now just move this into the wedge. I'm going to go, how far? Let's go 130. Let's actually see if I can play a controlled wedge in here. So the wedge, for me, is the one that actually stands out to be the most different looking. As like a bladed wedge, and when I set it down next to my 46, my original 46, this now new pitching wedge is much chunkier, much bigger. And I'm not sure I'm a big fan of that. I'm not sure as I get into my shorter irons, a slightly smaller head shape still suits. Let's see how it performs though. So I'm going to just kind of tickle these in at 130 carry distance from a 46-degree wedge. Oh, it's just a little bit fadey. Yeah, I don't know if I'm as comfortable with the wedge as I am with the medium and long irons. For me, that wedge looks too big, too chunky. But that gives it the option that I can still stick with a more bladed one. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that. Spun at 9,400, which is okay. You know, 10,000 with a wedge is normally about right. Not sure if I like the look of this wedge. It's not potentially as specialised as I'd like to see it look. It felt okay still, felt okay. So far, throughout the set, it's funny, before I picked this wedge up and I said, I don't think much is going to change my mind. This club has just slightly changed my mind a bit. I don't like the look of this as much. I don't like that look of a wedge. It's too big and chunky for me. Let's go one more. It feels okay still. It feels okay. Watch, it'll probably prove me wrong now and go in the hole. I mean, you know, performance there, I think I've been hindered by the look of the golf club more than the actual golf club itself. I feel like once I started putting that club behind the ball and my wedge, I just kind of switched off just because it's too big. However, as a overall review and a first impression of the new Ben Hogan PTX, they feel as soft as butter, like the Fort Worth 15. God, that sounded cheesy, didn't it? They feel as soft as butter. They feel very soft metal, and when you hit them, there's no, the right description, there's no initial sharpness to it. It's always a nice softness of a hit. Even when you don't actually hit them that well, there's always that kind of softness to the actual reaction as the ball hits the face. The PTX has not lost that, which I'm so happy about. I thought as they got into a bigger, more forgiving head, they may lose that feel, and they've not. Yes, they're still forged. I suppose they're still made in the same way, but there's just more weighting. My own personal opinion, I'm not as big a fan of the back of the golf club as I am the bladed ones, but performance-wise, from middle iron to long iron, awesome. Stay tuned for more head-to-heads between this and the Fort Worth. So see if that's more for my quest for the open kind of ideas, which one am I going to potentially use, because I like those, no question about it. And what I like with only 2 months go to the open qualifying, that just doesn't feel like a big change to me. It doesn't feel like I'm changing a whole different aesthetic. It just looks like I've injected some kind of, they've been on steroids. My blades have just been on steroids, which is great. That's what I like. I'm now going to move into the Fort Worth 15 high irons. That's the 4 and the 5 iron. They're kind of a bladed big iron. Guys, stay tuned. I have also got the hybrids to test as well, which will probably come out next or after soon. Guys, thanks for watching. As always, please do share your comments down below. Like the video if you've enjoyed the review. Exciting times, because I feel I could put these in that bag, not this bag. Either bag. Stay tuned, lots to come. Like the video, subscribe, and we'll see you next time testing the Fort Worth High 15s.